All right, welcome to today's explainer. We are jumping right in to summarize Maulana Maudoodi's profound commentary on Surah As-Sajdah. We're going to really unpack the intricate thematic flow and that powerful underlying logic embedded throughout this chapter.
To really anchor our analysis today, we're drawing directly from the authoritative text of Tahfeem al-Quran. The goal here is to distill Maudoodi's detailed exegesis and shine a spotlight on the most striking arguments presented in his work.
So here is our roadmap. We'll cover the background of the surah, defending the divine revelation, the miracle of creation, the reality of the hereafter, the contrast between believers and transgressors, and finally, the final divine warning.
Okay, let's start with Section 1, the background of Surah As-Sajdah.
The commentary paints a remarkably vivid picture of the early Meccan period. This wasn't exactly a time of polite, peaceful, philosophical debate. It was an era characterized by intense hostility and severe persecution of early Muslims. There was this highly coordinated whispering campaign by the Quraysh tribe, and it was aimed squarely at completely discrediting the Prophet's message.
The Tafsir highlights exactly how these skeptics were operating on the ground. They were actively spreading rumors that the Prophet was just fabricating these verses himself in secret. And understanding this historical reality is absolutely crucial because it perfectly sets the stage for the powerful rebuttals we see later in the surah.
Which brings us nicely to Section 2, defending the divine revelation.
So the commentary tackles this core doubt head-on, that audacious claim that the Quran was merely a human forgery. It's literally the very first thing addressed. The text doesn't shy away from the skepticism at all, it confronts it directly.
And here we see the divine counterargument. It states unequivocally that the book has an undeniable heavenly origin. Plus, it outlines a highly specific historical purpose. It's meant to guide an unguided nation that simply hadn't received a prophet in a very long time. Maudoodi emphasizes here that this majestic declaration right at the beginning of the surah leaves absolutely no room for doubt regarding its source. For believers, the sheer authority and undeniable truth of the message itself serves as the definitive proof against any of those forgery claims.
Moving right along to Section 3, the miracle of creation. I want you to notice the vast contrast presented in the text itself. On one hand, you have the immense, macro-scale creation of the heavens and the earth, and then it zooms way in to the humble, microscopic origins of human life. It's meant to showcase the absolute, limitless capability of the Creator, from the cosmic down to the cellular.
The commentary actually breaks down this biological and spiritual miracle step by step. Just look at this progression. We go from basic, lifeless earthly elements like clay to a humble drop of fluid, culminating in a complex, fully proportioned human being infused with a divine soul. It's this remarkable transition from the purely physical right into the spiritual.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from all this intricate physical formation? It's the granting of intellect and the senses. The text argues that possessing these incredible faculties should logically invoke deep humility and profound gratitude. Yet, as the text points out, tragically, humanity often responds with sheer arrogance instead.
That ties directly into Section 4, the reality of the hereafter.
The text captures the utter disbelief of the Meccan Quraysh perfectly. They mockingly asked how they could possibly be created anew after their bodies had dissolved and vanished into the dirt. From their purely material standpoint, the idea of resurrection sounded completely impossible. No way, right?
Well, in a really fascinating response, the exegesis defines the specific role of the angel of death. It clarifies a crucial theological concept here. While the physical body absolutely decays into the earth, the core identity of the person, their soul, is fully extracted and kept perfectly intact in divine custody for the day of judgment. Basically, the body is just a vessel. Your true self is never lost in the dirt.
Now, let's look at Section 5, believers versus the transgressors.
There's a really stark reality highlighted in the Tafsir here. On one side, you have those who submit to God with humility. On the other, those who arrogantly rebel. And the commentary makes it explicitly clear, these two groups are simply not equal. Not in their actions, not in their mindset, and certainly not in their ultimate fates.
The commentary vividly details the intimate, quiet devotion of the believers in this passage. Think about it, willingly forsaking the comfort of a warm bed in the middle of the night. It describes them being driven by this profound mix of the fear of accountability and the hope for divine mercy, all just to connect with their Lord.
Conversely, for the transgressors, the text explains this fascinating concept of the lesser torment. It argues that worldly hardships, disasters, and afflictions aren't always just random suffering. According to the commentary, they're actually sent as a severe mercy, an urgent, localized wake-up call meant to reform people before they face the inescapable greater torment of the hereafter.
And that brings us to our final section, the final divine warning.
Here, the text analyzes the final, almost taunting challenge from the disbelievers. Despite all the logical arguments and all the warnings we just talked about, they continuously demanded a strict timeline. They wanted a specific calendar date for this supposed ultimate victory and day of decision.
And this mocking question perfectly encapsulates the tragic blindness of the deniers discussed throughout the commentary. They completely missed the actual substance of the message because they were so hyper-focused on sarcastically demanding a deadline.
As we wrap up this explainer, the text leaves us with a genuinely chilling divine command directed to the prophet. Simply turn away and wait, because everyone is ultimately waiting for that exact same inevitable end. And that forces anyone seriously studying this text to stop and ask themselves, are you truly prepared for that final reality?